And you all thought that all that white smoke tonight was from fireworks. Instead, it was billowing along the top of SAP Center as we've named a new GM unofficially. Oh, yay. That's right. We have a new leader of the empire that is the San Jose Sharks. Yay! What up, everybody? Of course they had to do this on 4th of July.
Of course.
This had to break now. It couldn't have, I don't know, waited a day. But, for all the talk about keeping everything under wraps, and if a name got out there that it was damn near disqualifying, Mike Grier's name has been out there for a little while.
Yep.
So, makes you wonder if that was all bullshit. So, what do we got here, Erik? I mean, Mike Grier, former Shark, played here a couple seasons. Mm-hmm. Worked with the Devils franchise, worked with the Rangers franchise. I believe he was a scout, or no, assistant coach.
He was an
a scout for the Blackhawks, an assistant with the Devils, and then what has he been doing for the Rangers?
He was a consultant as a hockey operations advisor a little over a year ago.
Title.
So you're supposed to. What I gather was he was working on and off ice with the pitcher as a step below AGM, but also like a developmental coach, sort of like Mike Ricci for the Rangers. So, but yeah, Mike Grier, of course, former Shark from 06 to 09, sandwiched in between two stints with Buffalo, with Washington. Of course, he started his career in Edmonton. 383 points in over 1,000 games. As you said, he was an assistant coach for a few seasons, and then he went to the front office. Well,
look, his brother's the GM of the Dolphins, so clearly there's fish in the family.
And Tealish.
Yeah. Father, I think, has roots managerial sports, if I remember correctly.
So definitely a background in the family and now going into the organization here. So a big one here as we break it all down. I mean, he'll be the 5th full-time GM in Sharks franchise history, going all the way from between Jack Ferreira, Chuck Grillo when he was doing the two-headed monster with Dean Lombardi, then Dean himself, then DW. So for 31 years to have just 5 GMs plus Joe Will filling in for the few months here.
Joe Will.
Well,
that's for jerk.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, at least it's finally done, and the people on Sharks fan Facebook can calm their tits. Holy crap!
We got it, dude. We have to figure out a new head coach now. Now, does he bring in David Quinn, the former Rangers coach?
Well, that is a name that's been bandied about.
Yeah.
The thing for me that I don't know, that I kind of wonder about, and I'm hoping this gets asked during the media session tomorrow when they introduce Grier, but my take is, what was wrong with Bugner? I'm hoping somebody's going to ask that. If I would, if my schedule allowed, I'd be there to ask that question if nobody else would. But it does make you wonder, if they're announcing this tomorrow and they, lay off Bugner, what was it, last Friday? Last Friday. So clearly they were dotting I's, crossing T's. It's a holiday weekend, blah, blah, blah. And there's a part of me, from what I had understood, is that they were not going to announce this before the draft. So I wonder if all the leaks maybe kind of accelerated this announcement. But the Sharks love to keep people in the dark.
But maybe also it was the backlash they got for firing Buchner.
Solid point. There are already people that are kind of questioning if the Sharks were swayed one way or the other. Because we've heard there were 3 finalists, 4 finalists, 5 finalists, whatever, whether it was Ray Whitney or Garpenloff or Mellenby or whoever. There was so many names that were kind of thrown out there. But it does make you wonder, this is a feather in the cap to name the first black GM in the NHL.
And a big, kudos to the organization for not going with just the atypical, recycled guy. I mean,
I'm appreciative of that. I definitely am like, let's get some new blood up in here. Let's not do the same things over and over and over. So I'm finally okay. Now it makes me wonder, because we've got new blood in the GM office, will we see new blood behind the bench?
That's the big one.
Because when they let go of Madden and McLean and Bugner and Darrow, they still held on to Nabby. So he's still here. I'm still a little shocked that they let go of Darrow, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah,
dude was eagle eye. Was there a call that he came down with that didn't go their way this season?
No, and you mentioned that before the other day. It's like, I think they had the most successful challenge calls since they've been introducing the coaches challenge.
Yeah, Darrow was on it, so I was a little surprised by that. But we're gonna see how this, I guess, a new era comes to be. Mike, you got your work cut out for you, bro. This is not. I don't know that this is an enviable position. There's only 32 of them.
Yeah.
So if Grier can somehow figure a way to navigate out of the contract hell that this team is in and install, whether it's revamping the scouting and development staff, obviously the head coaching, if he can navigate his way out of this, he's going to be able to write his own check.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's an uphill battle. Does he declare the rebuild? That's a big one.
That's another question, dude. That's what I want to hear somebody ask, because there are some people out there that say they're already rebuilding, they just won't admit it.
Well, yeah. The other thing too is, where does Grier believe the rebuild's at, or the reset, or what was the word? Oh, evolution.
The re-establishment.
Yeah. It's a big one, and it's. I think the questions that get answered tomorrow or Tuesday, if you're watching this in the morning, it's going to be interesting to see what the direction is. Hell, we got a super chat.
Yeah, hold on, dude. Bozo, really? $10 for my haircut. I'm going for the Timo Meyer. I gotta let it grow a little bit longer, but yeah, I'm going for the fade on the sides, kind of long, pushed back on the top. I'm going for the Timo. We'll get there. It takes time. Doesn't happen overnight. But speaking of the chat, let's hit up some of these right now. Dave B. Pilot asks, he wants to ask, what direction will the Sharks go? Yeah, that's a solid question. Can you admit to a rebuild, and how do you put on a straight face saying that when you just signed the Hurdle deal? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's good. And not to mention the fact that Joe Will seems to be a really big Mark Edward Vlasic fan. I wonder if the buyout question is going to come up tomorrow. You would think. I'm with Joe Will. I say, you know what? Make him the highest paid 7th defenseman. I'm fine with that. because the penalty is just too severe to do it right now. Let him get to that 3-team no trade next season and see if it doesn't open up after they miss the playoffs for the 4th straight year. What else did I see here in the chat? The Sharks, Jared saying the Sharks are too fixated on the whole prereq of being a past Shark or Shark alumni. I kind of agree with that when you look at some of the names that we're bandied about.
And well, look how many former Sharks are in the org or in the coaching staff. Marshman, Ricci, Nabokov. Not saying they're not qualified for it, but you can look outside the organization for such too.
But are other franchises similar? I mean, look at Colorado. I mean, Joe Sakic. Look at L.A. Rob Blake. Mm-hmm. So it's not like
Robitaille as the team president.
Yeah, the Shark. This is not a new thing. The Sharks are not breaking any molds with this.
True.
So, anybody else in the chat here? I'm looking for the questions. Dan Boyle behind the bench. I don't hate that idea. I don't think he's ready for it, but I don't hate that idea. I know somebody else brought up the idea of Owen Nolan. Like, Owen Nolan, he just wants to fish. Right. He is done with the NHL.
Same with Patty. When everybody asks, well, what about Patrick Marleau? I was like, no, I think he wants to enjoy Disneyland with his kids and his family,
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is I think when it comes to Marleau, I think it does have to do with family. I think with Nolan, he left the NHL with such a bitter taste in his mouth for the NHL that I think he's just like, no, fuck them. I'm more than happy when the Sharks reach out to me to do glad handing, do meet and greets, all that type of stuff. I'm right there, first in line. But if the NHL wants something from me, kiss my ass. He's not doing it. So I don't think Nolan has no interest. And I think if he did, he'd already be somewhere doing something.
Yeah, you would have thought by now, especially since he was such a long-time NHLer. He had had his choice in organizations he would have gone to.
Dude, he's probably working on some like reality show for the Fishing Network or something.
He had one for a little bit, didn't he?
It wouldn't surprise me. Get him a YouTube show, do something like that. Oh, Dave also saying Darrow shouldn't have been let go. Yeah, I'm the same way on that. I was a little surprised by that. Like, of all the people that you let go, like that was one where it was just like what was there to complain about?
Yeah, unless you're getting Brett Heimlich back from Colorado, who was here. I mean, but that's no guarantee.
Let me see. Okay. It's obviously shenanigans, but spelled with numbers. Do you think it's possible for the Sharks to make the final in the next 5 years? No, I don't. Not with these contracts. Not with these current contracts. No.
The next 5 years, maybe in 5-6 years, once they get out of all these deals, that's the big one, is whether or not they'll be around.
Well, and it comes down to how well can they continue to draft. Like, there's been all tons of speculation. And I'm with it. Like, I'm excited about the pipeline. We're not, swimming in blue chip prospects, but look, man, I mean, people are aware of names like, Gaudreau, Coe, Robbins, obviously Weisblatt and Bordelot and Eklund and all those, but there's at least like you feel like there's something there. Like, you're going to hit on at least a couple of those, and maybe that helps the turnaround. Maybe it accelerates it if we're lucky. I want to know we got the GM thing, right? I mean, there's a list. Head coaching, right? Got to deal with behind the bench. There's another big question that's sitting like a cloud over SAP. Who's getting moved out of the net? You're not rolling with 3 goalies.
No. You tried that the first year the team, and that didn't work out too well. But it also depends on what they can get for one of these guys.
Well, what they can get, but I think it also determines Mike Grier is going to have to figure out like what is the path moving forward. Is it a case of we're going to hold on to Reimer and Kakinen because yes, Reimer's older, but he gave us huge minutes last season, and he'll be this kind of stopgap. And it could be the very case of Kakinen is your starter, Reimer's there to back him up, and you roll with that in the hopes that Gaudreau is gonna step in the next year or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very fluid there because nobody signed over next year, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I think this is last year for
Hill,
for Reimer
Reimer and Hill, and then Kakinen is what, RFA?
Yeah, he's an RFA right now, and I think he's arbitration eligible if I'm not mistaken.
So, Sharks, Kakinen, you're gonna get bent over,
Yeah, Kakinen is arbitration eligible, and then Hill and Reimer are UFAs after the next season.
There you go. Skyler, did Grier play with Vlasic? Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Remember, Vlasic now at this point is the only Shark on the team to have ever skated in the logo that Puck Guy has on his chest right now. I'm just saying. Vlasic is the last one.
Yep.
Or I should say skated in that jersey.
Yeah,
people are going to get technical and go, 25th and 30th Heritage and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Calm down.
You caught yourself. That's fine.
You know what I meant. Stop it. Give me a break. Let's see here. Dave saying, oh, my God, I hope they don't keep Vlasic if they're actually serious about trying to make the playoffs. I don't think they're serious about trying to make the playoffs. They're going to tell everybody they are, but look at these contracts.
They gotta make a run to compete.
They gotta weather the storm.
Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
I mean, suck hard for Bedard, lose hard for Bedard.
I mean, I'm fine with that, but that's the thing with Bugner is I feel bad for the guy because look, did I question his deployments? Did a lot of people question his deployments some days? Yeah. Is that me? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt things, but I swear to God, I'm hearing something on Skype. Is somebody trying to call right now? Who do we give somebody the phone number? What the hell's going on? But what was I saying? Oh, it looks as though we. That's what it was. Did we lose Erik? Oh, I hate when that happens. We don't want to lose Erik. So, anyway, the problems with doing a live show. Clearly, that must have been Erik trying to call me back. Man, oh man. Let's see if we can get him back here, people. Again, problems with doing live casts at the last second. Oy, oy, oy. It's horrible. We'll get him back. So, or maybe we won't. He has a case of the AOLs. So, look, it is what it is. It's finally over. The GM has been found, evidently, if we believe all the reports that are happening. And the best thing, of course, being is that there are a lot of people that are still kind of doubting it until it's actually announced. Look, when has Kevin Weeks ever bullshitted, right? When has Kevin Weeks ever gotten it wrong? That's what I want to know. That is what I want to know. So it looks as though we are unable to get... Oh, poor Puck Guy. Looks like we can't get him back in. I'm calling, but no hope. So let's finish off with your comments, and we'll wrap this up, because obviously there's going to be a lot to talk about tomorrow after the announcement is official, and we hear what he is actually asked, and we'll see how much information he provides. Now, Doug Wilson, as you know, solid political answers from him. You know, he could navigate around a question better than most. So we'll see if Mike possesses that same skill and doesn't touch the same, if you will. We'll see just how political it is. I hope he's direct, but as we've seen with the Sharks, they like to tiptoe around stuff. Let's get to some. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up on all the comments here. Let's see, like a tiger. You can try and move Vlasic next year. His contract NMC changes to a limited NTC. Exactly. That's what I was saying earlier. It's going to go to a 3-team, no trade. He's got to give up 3 teams. Boom. All of a sudden, that gives you some flexibility. Maybe, and granted, the 3 teams that Vlasic are going to, if he's smart and talks to his agent, he's going to name 3 teams that are in cap hell, can't afford him, wouldn't want him, whatever it is. That's the smart play. But Chiefs getting up there in age, if you want a cup, and the Sharks are probably going to have to eat some dollars on that. But if you want to do, we've already seen Marleau and Thornton had to make that move. So I'm team keep them one more year. But that's for solely selfish reasons for the Sharks, not having anything to do with Vlasic. I'm saying I'm hoping Grier doesn't end up being a puppet for Hasso. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that Wilson was if anything, I think Wilson maybe he had Hasso snowed a little bit, saying, all those years of nothing longer than 5-year contracts, and all of a sudden he went up. Oh shit! Look at this. I think Erik's back. Let's see. Do we have him?
Do you have me?
I don't have video, but you're on audio.
All right. Well, we'll go with that right now. I lost power just a moment ago. Still trying to get Wi-Fi back. Of course. What else is new? Where were we?
Yeah, well, let me finish up with, I'm trying to get to all the comments in here. Let's see here from Alexander. I am a Sharks employee from the ice crew, and right now, as I see it, the Toronto Maple Leafs have a better shot at winning a single playoff round than the Sharks have at winning the cup anytime soon. You right. You're right. Dave saying Vlasic could move this year if he's willing to waive. Yeah. I mean, if you're a smart guy and you're going to look at the tea leaves, I mean, bro. Yeah, I mean, you have limited chances at this. And we also, what happened to Jumbo this season, he tried, got close, but sadly went to the wrong Florida franchise, and even then, they didn't win it. So, it is what it is. Ivan pointing out that Vlasic has said he ain't waiving anything. Yeah, I don't think he's going to waive his no move. But again, once that opens up to that 3-team no trade, maybe Vlasic is a little more easy to conduct business with. Just saying, people can be creative and inventive. And the other thing that we have to take into account as well, we don't know if there were any handshake deals, things spoken about behind the scenes, but Wilson's known Vlasic since, didn't Wilson draft Vlasic?
Yes.
Okay, then.
That was the pick for Kiprusoff.
Yes, I remember that. So there you go. It's Wilson had that long-standing relationship. Grier doesn't have that. He has the fortune to not have that long-standing relationship. So maybe it's easier for Grier to be a little bit more of a hard ass in negotiations. Yeah. Tony pointing out the Barracuda was the worst team, 31 out of 31 in the AHL. Sharks prospects are highly questionable if they finish last in the AHL like this. No reason for optimism. Now, I get what you're saying, Tony, and to a certain extent, I agree with you, but I think you also need to take into account that this past season, how many times did CUDA players get called up? Because there were Sharks injuries, there were Sharks that went on COVID protocol, that those call-ups, if the COVID thing doesn't happen or whatever, maybe they don't get called up. Who knows if they move Middleton, and then maybe that keeps Merkley down with the CUDA longer. So I get what you're saying, And for the most part, I agree with you. But I do think that all the injuries, I mean, the Sharks were waving that fact around like a flag. Like, no other hockey team has played more rookies this season than San Jose. So that speaks to, that it's hard to keep putting Band-Aids on a mortal wound when the Barracuda are having to deal with that. But it also speaks to the fact that the Sharks were just sorely lacking in depth, that they had to make all those call-ups. Broden asking, thoughts on Ferraro's next deal? I think I'd like to hear it fucking announced. Butt guy? Oh, great. I lost him again. Okay. So, yeah, I'm a little shocked that deal hasn't been announced yet, to be quite honest with you. So we'll see what happens. Could he get offer sheeted? Yeah, anything can happen. I don't know that you'd see an offer sheet for him, though. Like, I digs me some Ferraro, but I think sometimes he might get, I don't know, valued a little higher. I think a lot of people kind of, look at him at a 1-2, and I'm more of a 2-3, 3-4 guy. I think he's a great second pair guy. I don't know that he's a top pair guy, at least not to this point. Kid works his fucking ass off, and he puts his mind to it. Yeah, I think he's definitely got the engine. He just needs the reps. I think he could get there. I don't know that he'd get offer sheeted at this point, but anything can happen. Does Grier shop Brent Burns? Holy crap, do I hope so. And does it make it easier to shop him to a team that plays in the same state that his ranch is in, that plays in a state that his former coach is in, that, when he was being coached by that guy, won a pretty significant trophy? Does it help that team also has his really good buddy that loves to tip in his shots? Does it help that Dallas and Klingberg might be on the outs? I don't know. That could be interesting. I could see that happening. That's the benefit of the new GM, is he doesn't have the long-standing relationships with some of these players. I think we can all agree that there have been times that Doug Wilson has held on too long. I loves me some Jumbo, loves me some Patty, but I'll be the first one to say I think both of those players were held on too long as a Shark. I'm from the Bill Walsh school. Get rid of them a year too early rather than a year too late. Let's see what else we got here in the chat. None of the major Sharks prospects played for the Barracuda last year. Yeah, you're right for the most point. But a new arena, new coach with Johnny Mack coming in, and newer players, yeah, it could make things very interesting, especially if the Sharks are able to tidy up whatever it is that they need to deal with and have that path moving forward. Hopefully they don't have another COVID outbreak. Hopefully they don't come into injury issues again. If they can remain healthy, maybe that'll help the CUDA kind of solidify what they have going on. A Rebel saying, I don't want anybody to go but Burns. You may get your wish. We don't know. You don't know. Excuse me. Bugner got dicked by the front office. That seems to be the prevailing wisdom from most people. I understand them keeping them as long as they did, because maybe it was a kind of a case of, well, our new GM might look at what the coaching staff has done. You have to give Bugner some credit. Again, his deployment sometimes was questionable, but the situation where he was in, where he comes in taking over for DeBoer in December of 2019, and he gets saddled with the Barracuda staff, doesn't even get to pick his own coaches. Then the following year has to do the entire camp in Arizona, has to play whatever it was, 12 of the first 14 or 14 of the first 16, whatever it was. Just spent an ungodly amount of time in Arizona, wasn't able to have the camp that he wanted. And then even coming into the camp this last season, Rocky Thompson bails out at like the last possible minute. He had to find replacement for that. plus dealing with the whole Evander Kane nonsense. So I gotta, let's not burn Bugner in effigy. I think he did some good things. He got this team to play for each other. There were so many games this year they didn't give up. Year before with Jones in net or what, they would have been waving the right flag after they were down by 2 goals. But he got that team to bounce back and at least show a lot of heart. Did they need some more offense? To me, that's the big thing. You went from tied for second in offense. The next season, you're like 25th. The season after that, you're like 27th. This last season, I think it dropped even further. Even though I believe their goals against actually got a little bit better, they couldn't score. How many, the last, month and a half of games, every game that they lost, I think save one, it was by 1 goal if you don't count empty netters. So they were in a lot of those games. They just couldn't find that extra goal. To me, that's something that Mike Grier has his work cut out for him. You have to find some offense for this team. I feel like I droned on a little too long with that one. Burns from Ivan. Burns is still a serviceable D-man, could fetch something in return. Hockey Jerk will tell you that 20 ways from Sunday. Absolutely right. And dude never misses a game. When was the last time he missed a game? 2012? Chief does not miss games. So, if there's a way to make Burns to Dallas happen, even if you have to eat $1 million or $2 million off that contract, I think it's worth looking into. I'm just saying something. Bugner from Iman. Bugner should have been let go in May so he could have got an assistant job somewhere. Yes, in hindsight, I can say that, but with what we knew at the time, we didn't know if the GM looked at this situation that Bugner had and said, yeah, he's worth one more go. However, that brings me back to a previous thought that I had was, well, the Sharks were kind of in a no-win situation because this is Bugner's last year. How motivating is it for players to play for a lame duck coach? If Bugner chews somebody out in the back of that player's mind, how do we not know that he's going, yeah, whatever, Chief, you're not going to be here in a year. What do I care? Right? So it was kind of like you either needed to let him go or extend him. Maybe the vetting process for the new GM kind of put the brakes on that. If they could have found a GM sooner, they obviously could have gotten that decision sooner. But what are you going to do? Dave B. saying, Vlasic didn't say he wouldn't waive his no move. He just said he signed in San Jose. If he's not wanted in San Jose and is sent to a place he'll play, it's a good chance he'll waive. Fair point. That actually is correct. Yeah, he didn't say he wouldn't waive it. In fact, I remember you also have to take into account Vlasic loves fucking with the media. He thoroughly enjoys it. So he's like, I signed here. He didn't say he wouldn't. In fact, at one point during one of the media calls, he said, "Oh, I have a no move." He likes fucking with the media. So. And Dave also bringing up, it's all speculation. We'll see what the moves are. And that's the whole thing. That's something I've been complaining about for way too long this summer is just like, oh, there's so much speculation. Just stop the noise already. I understand you guys got to find content. But when I hear, 20 minutes on, what is it, PDO, DPO, Daily Faceoff, DFO. I hear 20 minutes on that, or I hear it on 32 Thoughts where it's like speculation. And I'm not saying that those guys don't know their shit, but I'm tired of talking about what might happen, what could happen. Like, just let's talk about what has happened. But the only way we can do that is if something has happened. Let's see some more comments here. We still know that Erik has lost power. Oh, wait a minute. He says he's back on now. We're going to give this one more try, I suppose. We'll give it the old college try. Oy. Can we get him back? Oh, poor Erik. Why can we not get Erik back? Oh, it's terrible. Well, it is what it is. I'm trying here, and it's not working. don't understand. This is a horrible situation. Steve Spott for Sharks head coach. No, he's going to be working the power play in Dallas to their demise. Quick demise, I would imagine. That's going to suck out loud for Dallas. We'll see how quickly that happens. I can only imagine. Oy, oy, oy. Bugner will never be a head coach again. Oh, I wouldn't bet money on that, sir. I would not bet money on that. NHL loves their retreads. Loves the retreads. Puck guy lost power. Okay. Vlasic will want out the more he sits in the press box. We can only hope. We can only hope. Please. Oh, Mao to meow. Oh, that's interesting. Asking, what about the Kane grievance? What's your opinion on that, especially if the Sharks lose? They have Kane's contract back and his 3-team limited. Oh, I hope they work out a deal with the Oilers. My opinion on that is, yeah, Grier, the Sharks are kind of held up on certain things until that gets done. Why that is taking so goddamn long, I have no idea. This bullshit about, the NHL only has one arbitrator. Really? Like, I understand they wanted to work with the same person that they worked with from the beginning, but that seems a bit of a cop-out. So it does hold him up. Oh, look at that. I am split screen. Cool. We'll do that just to see if we can get Erik back on here. I'm going to be real interested to see how that plays out. I don't think that I think the Sharks may turn out okay in this. Oh my God, he's back!
And we're back. Thank freaking God.
You're a bit dark and a bit zoomed in, but I can take care of at least the zoomed in part.
That's fine.
You might need some lighting.
I'll some lighting. Go on.
So I don't know what's going to happen with that grievance, but the Sharks, I understand the NHLPA doesn't want precedent set. I get that, but I think this is a kind of a one-off situation. I think the Sharks are going to win. I don't think that they make that play unless they're really goddamn confident that they're going to come out okay. And I think they'd be more than fine to sit there and go, okay, look, we'll pay you, we were on the hook. What were they on the hook for left? Like 21 million, 24 million, somewhere in that ballpark?
Yeah.
So somewhere in that ballpark, I think they're more than happy to just sit there and go, look, we'll pay you a third of that to just go away, and you can go sign with anybody you want, probably the Oilers, because all of that worked out really well, so go sign the deal with them. Or what was it? It was like he could sign a deal, but the Sharks would pay a portion of it or something.
Something like that, or they would play like a certain amount, a percentage of it, and then trade him to wherever for them to get the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like if it was like a $7 million deal, maybe the Sharks pay like $2 million for it.
I'm not worried that the Sharks are going to get screwed in that deal. I just wish that they could get a decision sooner than later, of course.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants that.
Because it holds up everything. It holds up the stuff for the Oilers, who are looking to trade Puljujärvi, among other things, to maybe fit Evander Kane into their plans. And it's tough because the Oilers have no second, third, or fourth round picks in this year's draft. They want to recoup with something, but if they can't recoup anything, why would they want to make any deal of that sort? Plus, figure out what they're going to do with Kane, who was, if he wasn't the top leading scorer, I think McKinnon tied him at the end, but he was the top leading scorer in the playoffs this past year.
Yeah, although did still prove that people can get under his skin. We saw some shenaniganery between Calgary, so he can still get tilted from time to time. David H. asking, felt like Hasso let Doug do his thing. No? The Tavares summer is the only time I vividly remember him getting super involved. I've been saying that forever. Hasso hires people that he believes in and lets them do their thing. And let's be honest. If Doug Wilson wasn't dealing with health issues, I don't know that he wouldn't currently be the general manager still. You know, I mean, he did a lot of good things for a long time. He's dug himself a hole. I think he's earned the right to dig himself out of it, but his health has precluded him from that. So we now have Mike Grier. Let's see what else we got here in the chat before we kind of get out of here. We'll just turn this into a Q&A because I think we've already kind of kind of shared our thoughts on everything. Who do you think will go first, Burns or Karlsson? Well, just based on the contract, like term and money, it's Burns. I don't see anybody touching Karlsson's contract with a 10-foot hockey stick.
Unless Burns is like, nah, I'm good.
Or if Karlsson is trade me right fucking now, I didn't come here for a rebuild. You know, he's already said that. Oh my God, could you imagine if Grier comes out tomorrow and said, you know, I've talked to the front office, or, you know, I've talked to Becker, I've talked to Will, I've talked to everybody, talked to Hasso. After missing the playoffs for 3 straight years, there are contracts that are limiting us. You know, unless we can move these, we have players that we need to shuffle a bit. And because of that, we're going to go into a limited short rebuild or something, you know, like the next 2 years. It's very much like what Doug said going into 2015. It's like, we're going to take a step backwards so we can go a step forward, you know, multiple steps forward the following year. And what do? You know, miss the playoffs, then go to the Stanley Cup final the next season. Maybe Grier does something like that. But if Grier was to say something like that, would Karlsson be like, trade me right fucking now?
Right.
I don't know. It's all fun and games.
This is why this offseason is going to be so interesting. I mean, first and foremost, you have Grier. We'll find out hopefully tomorrow as to what he's thinking and what he wants to do with the team. But what's next? It's almost like there's a lot of shoes that are about to fall here. And first thing will be the draft. Now you'll have a GM in place so you can maybe do something for free agency. Of course, again, like you said, the Kane situation kind of is like rearing its ugly head, and granted you can go over the cap during the summertime, but that'll be making a very interesting decision if it doesn't go in the Sharks' favor.
Well, I mean, the GM position at the draft is ceremonial.
True.
Joe Will, Dougie Jr., they've all done the work. The scouts, Tim Burke, they've all done the work. This work, the draft packets were handed out like as Valentine's presents. Like, these have been around for quite some time. And Doug Wilson Jr. even pointing out on Friday that, you know, that they also got to see a lot of players that because of COVID couldn't play that previous season.
Right.
So they got more information, data. All the work has been done. GM just sits there in their suit and goes up there and names a name. If anything, I don't even know that I want to see Mike Grier at the draft table in Montreal. I'd be like, no, dude, you got other shit to focus on. Free agency is around the corner. Like, you have more important things to do than to walk up to, you know, the podium and say, so-and-so, so-and-so.
Unless he wants to make a big splash and make a trade.
Okay, there is that.
There's that. I mean,
you know what I want to see? I want to see him walk up in that crisp suit, and just before he like makes whatever announcement it is, he just kind of pulls a Superman and just an original Sharks jersey, the return of the original Sharks logo. That's just me.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Tony asking, what UFA scoring talent can the Sharks get to put more goals in the net? What about Kessel to Mill? He certainly knows how to score at SAP. Frank Petrano from NYR, who I think got totally boned by Tampa. But anyway, what bargain talent would give the Sharks scoring?
I do like Vetrano. I mean,
I love Vetrano.
That might actually fit their budget.
Dude, I loved I thought Tampa didn't he have like the game-winning goal against the Sharks and then like the next day traded to New York?
Yeah. He was the Panther at the time, then he got traded to the Rangers.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Tampa. I'm sorry, I meant Florida. Yeah, but he scores like the game-winning. I think he was the number one star of the game.
Yeah.
And he gets traded the next day.
I think he had 2 goals in that game. That was Jumbo's return.
Yeah, I was at the game.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm just going down the list of UFAs right now, and I'm like, Andre Palat's going to get paid. Max Domi's a guy. There's a guy that can get some scoring, but also is a bumper.
Yeah, he's got some grit, but then again, it's I don't know what Sharks to me is still essentially a one-line team. It's Hurdle, it's Meyer, it's Couture. On a slightly level under that, you can say Barabanov, Balsers, perhaps, maybe Dahlin, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like a 1.5 line team. So I think you got to shore that up. Kessel, I'm done with. But for Toronto, I think is an interesting option, and I'm sure there's going to be other ones out there.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Chester, buddy, what's rolling, bud?
Good to see you, bud.
You guys might have discussed this already. Who's your top choice for a new head coach? For me, I'm going to say not a retread. But if I get my choice, Marco Sturm.
Yeah,
because former Sharks must be always when it comes to the Sharks.
But this one makes sense.
That's what I'm saying.
He has head coaching experience. He got Germany, I think, to the gold medal game 4 years ago in Pyeongchang. He's
What'd you call
now.
Me?
Excuse you. He's going to be for now the head coach of the Ontario Reign, the LA Kings affiliate.
And can we talk about how Jay Woodcroft ascended?
Exactly. Precisely. I mean, that's how you look at it. Like we mentioned earlier, you wonder if there's a David Quinn sighting here because of the Rangers tie. Do you look at Andrew Brunette, who did a pretty good job with the Panthers and then just got heave-toed right after the season after he got swept by the Lightning? And there are some candidates, but it's not like it was 2-3 weeks ago.
No, of course not. But if I hear the word Quinville, I'm gonna fucking throw myself off a building.
No. If you do that, then you're really gonna lose the fan base like you already have already.
Yeah, they can
and
sit
some
there.
media people.
But cups, but cups, but. Seriously, odd time for the Bugner firing, but it is what it is. Let's get to, let's see, Marty T. The blue line needs to contribute more offensively. The forwards need to buckle down and actually play defense. I mean, yeah, but when Carlson is firing off those 100-mile-an-hour passes, you need players that can take them and do something with them. Like again, I don't think it's. You can say the blue line needs to contribute a bit more offensively. I think, to a certain extent, but the blue line's job is to get the puck up the ice, and if there's no one to feed it to and to score, what are you going to do?
Right.
Go ahead.
I like Skylar's comment in the chat. Joel Ward is another option.
I'm still going down comments. We'll get to that one.
Okay, my bad. My bad. That just caught my eye. I was like, ooh, Wardo, yeah.
No, Wardo would be very interesting, and it's another one that wouldn't surprise me if it happened. So, let's see. Some people saying they would take Puljujarvi if they can make it happen. I don't know. It's not a name that totally excites me. Whatever.
Yeah, I think I'm down for it, but nothing. I'm almost thinking Yamamoto a little bit more if you're going to steal anybody from Edmonton.
Kaler?
Yeah.
Give me some Kaler. Dude, I like where you're thinking on that one. I enjoy that. Chester asking, when is the Kane ruling supposed to happen? Like a month and a half ago.
That's true.
When will it happen? I think it's going to be, I don't know, like a couple weeks after free agency. Like,
right.
It's going to suck. It's going to suck. Let's see if I can scroll down a bit more and try to catch up with everything. Does Puck Guy pay for his electricity through hourly CDs like his AOL?
I pay with calling cards. Shut up.
Oh, loved it. Opinion on the speculation that Grier will hire David Quinn. Well, we kind of touched on that already,
Yeah.
but at this point, like I said, I'm just no retreads. Like if we're gonna go whole new blood on this and start something new, then let's do it. Yeah. The other thing I really want to know: how long is Mike Grier's contract?
That's the other thing.
And will they even disclose it?
Well, you would have to think it's at least 3. Otherwise, how are you going to try to turn this ship around when you're looking behind your back after year 1?
Yeah. Oh shit, we got Hockey Jerk in the house.
Oh,
dude,
Jerk.
if you're around and you got something to say, how hit me up on the Skypey, buddy.
Yeah.
Didn't even notice. Other UFA scoring talent around. Mason Marchment. That's a name that I've heard bandied about.
Oh, yes.
You're going to tell me Brian wouldn't like to have his kid back here? Sure. Paul Stastny. I don't know. I'm a little kind of like over Best Buy date, but maybe you get him for next to nothing. Yarncroc.
Kelly, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Ryan Strome. That's a name that makes me a little kind of things that make you go, but I like Jerk. Got to be a trade. DeBrincat, Nylander. Oh, dude, if we could get Nylander.
Oh, now we're talking.
Dude, I would love to get Nylander.
Especially since Toronto just can't stand them.
Yeah.
That'd
Dude, I would take Nylander in a fucking heartbeat. Oof. Yeah, see, Dave's on the same wavelength as me when it comes to the Kane grievance. He thinks he'll sign a deal and the Sharks will settle for the money he lost. It'll be a small amount, but as long as it doesn't count against the Sharks cap, I'm fine with it. Hasso has deep pockets. He'll pay the freight. Just don't, make it hurt the Sharks against the cap, because I think that'd be kind of fucked up, because it's like they did everything right. It was Kane is the one who, did his BS. So
you got your buddy on.
Where is he? Call me. Where you at, Broham? Give me a shout. I don't hear that stupid Skype song ringing in my head.
Like you didn't hear that for like the last 20 minutes trying to get back on.
Ding. Yeah, bring it on, jerk man. Oh, dude. If I was Mike Grier, I would tweet who the fuck is Erik Karlsson to turn my phone off. Hell yeah. Oh, incoming call.
There you go.
Where is it? Hey now, do we have Mr. Jerkman on the line?
No.
Oh, shit. Well, it was worth a shot, wasn't it, everybody?
This is somebody else. So I have, I'll be honest. I was.
Oh.
I was like, you know what? I'll just let the boys do their thing. I'll listen. It's going to be all good. And then you told me to come on, and there were certain comments where I was like, oh, man, I got to say something about that.
Dude, get on here, coward.
Also,
right. What do you want to say?
Well, okay, so first things first, I saw a couple people. By the way, is Puck Guy here? What's the story?
Doesn't look like it. Okay, Puck Guy, see if you can get back in line. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I might be able to pull this off. Let's see what happens. It's been a real interesting night for technology, let me tell you. Oh, you know what, though? Eric's been having power issues, so he may be out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah, I think he might be out. Oh, crap.
I'm looking at the live feed. It's just the Skype logo.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Okay, watch this. Kaboom!
I'm watching.
Oh, wait. No. Oh, shit. No, he's coming back.
And he's back.
Hold on.
Did I throw a grenade on everything? I'm sorry, Eric.
No, you're fine. All good.
Okay. Well, fuck it. We'll go back to this. Oh, shit. Yep. Oh, no, he still doesn't have video, though.
Right. Oh, hang on. It went right back to my phone for some reason.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hi again.
What the shit?
Yeah, I know.
Like a tiger.
Hold on. This is the most insane thing. Okay, so look, maybe you don't have.
I'll drop off. You take over with Jerk.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Good to see you, Eric.
Yeah.
Hi and bye.
Good hanging out.
It's off to you, my friend. Later.
All right,
Cool.
man. Well, holy shit.
I'm afraid to hang up though.
Get the fuck out of here.
And there he goes.
Oh my Lord. This is just, I know that I have a one shot around here. I'm just like, I don't even want to, oh Jesus Christ. Look at all the different things I have. Man, I am so prepared for everything but what is happening right now. Fuck it, dude. You're just going to be a Skype thing for right now. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I bet you I can switch over. Let me see. Apologies to everybody watching this dog and pony bullshit. There we go. There we go. Let's turn that shit off. We can turn off the fucking scrolling text bullshit. No. Turn it off. Turn it all off. For the love of fucking God, turn it all off.
I'm literally watching the live stream right now, just watching you cycle through everything.
Dude. Okay. All right, we're all good. It's me and you now,
All right.
sir. All right, let's catch back
There
up to
it
where
is.
we were.
Okay.
All
So
right, you had some things to say, and we'll get back to the chat, which I'm still trying to catch up on. Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Eric, stop trying to call me, bro. It's over.
So there were a bunch of things I was reading. So I saw one person was saying, "Oh, well, what about I believe I saw, Mason Marchment, Yarncroke, Mikheyev, Rodriguez." Here's the thing: I like all those players. Paul Stastny, I think he's a good player past his best before date.
Thank you.
Evan Rodriguez, I think saw pretty inflated numbers this year, but you could maybe make an argument the same way for Mason Marchment as well. But Mikheyev and Yarncroke, I like those players. They're good players. But for what the Sharks need, not good enough. Like if the Sharks, like if that's who you're targeting, why don't you just keep Kevin Labanc?
Who?
Exactly. And and obviously, as I said, UFA, I think it's for what the Sharks need. I think UFA is a fool's game. I was hoping it was going to be Fiala. Obviously, that didn't happen. He went to the LA Kings instead.
Dude, you were drooling over Fiala.
Dude, I'm just like, come on. Like, this is the thing that killed me, right? If
it can't be Kyle Connor, bring us Fiala.
Well, and you know what I'm trying, my resolution for next season, and it's not next season yet, so I don't have to hold to this, but my resolution for next season is to not make fun of our listeners as much. But
rub a lamp.
But I've seen a lot of people saying the Sharks need more elite talent, which true, very true.
Got to draft it.
But then, well, not necessarily, but here comes an opportunity to bring in elite talent, Fiala, and it's like, oh, we can't pay that price, and it's like, well, you either want it or you don't. Like, you don't get both.
What did you think about the idea of Nylander?
Oh, and here's the thing, dude. The reason why, and not a lot of people talk about Nylander in our circles, I don't think. Here's the thing, though. We listen to, for some reason, we listen to Toronto radio pretty regularly. And the constant that keeps coming up, and I heard it was on Overdrive, I want to say the beginning of last week, it was on Overdrive, where they were saying, is Nylander the type of guy who can step up, raise the intensity level in a playoff series? And it's, immediately, like, when I heard that, I'm in the car by myself. When I heard that, I was like almost disgusted because, why? Why? I mean, I understand it's Toronto media and it's, it's easy to sort of pick a punching bag, right? But the thing is, who led the Maple Leafs in scoring in the playoffs last 2 years?
Who dat?
William Nylander.
Holy shit. Who done it?
Like, you want to talk about being able to raise the intensity level? Nylander's been the only one who's done it the last 2 years.
Dude, I'm saying. I love me some Nylander.
And, I've been saying it on Twitter. I know Tiger has been saying it in the Discord. It's like, if Toronto wants to run Nylander out of town, run him right to San Jose.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I'll pay the freight on that.
And you know what? It's almost kind of like the perfect cocktail, which is why I think it won't happen. But he's 26. He's from the same. He's a draft before Timo Meier, so he's kind of in that sort of that sweet spot, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a kid, but he's not ancient either. And he's only got 2 years left, and he is going to be a UFA, but he is at a good number. And $6.9 million, which is good for 34 goals this year.
Mhm.
17 last year, but that was in 51 games, 31 the year before. Like, guy scores goals, despite the fact that everybody, in Toronto media and Toronto fans hate him for some reason. So Nylander, yeah, I'd sniff around that if it comes available. Same thing. If Chicago wants to get goofy and trade Alex DeBrincat, I'd sniff around that.
Little froggy.
Yeah, and Elliot Friedman said Chicago was offered, 2 first-round picks and I think a prospect, and they said no to it. So I think with that one, you might have to get a little creative. I think there, and Ryan and I were talking about this, but I think there you're thinking 11th overall, LeBanc for the salary. And, I mean, he's a good player. Like, let's not kid ourselves here.
Well,
But, like, 11th overall, LeBanc, Jonathan Dahlin, maybe an Ozzy Weisblatt, something kind of like that.
well,
Gets the needle moving.
and it's funny you mentioned that. We've seen Doug Wilson say it time and again that picks are currency for him.
Right. And here's the thing is there's a lot of people in our Discord server have rightfully so said.
Are you trying to say many people are saying?
Many people are saying trading 11th overall for help right now is a mistake. And
I would agree.
See, and I think if the Sharks were going the rebuild direction, yeah, I would agree too. But dude, you and I know that's not what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's not what they're doing. They're whether or not you think it's the right decision, that's not what they're doing. They are dude, we've done the podcast. How many, what?
It's been a while.
But what I'm saying is we've done the podcast 36 weeks a year for the last 6 years. How many times have I said that, regardless of what you think the Sharks are at, where you think they're at, they are in a position where they have to try.
Yep.
And you don't try by rolling the same team out. You try by making your forwards better. And honestly, if I had to choose between 11th overall or a Nylander, a DeBrincat, a Pasternak, to me, that's an easy decision.
Yeah, you go for the proven talent.
It's not like you're trading 11th overall for fucking Pavs. You know what I mean? Like the oldest guy in that threesome is 26.
Yeah, no, it's when I look at that, I'm going, no, I think that's the easy decision because, like you're saying, not only is it like, okay, you want to be competitive now, this is the type of move that you make to make that happen, but it's also the fact that you get a proven talent, not a might be better than that talent.
Dude, Alex DeBrincat, he's 24. He's going to be 25 in December. Alex DeBrincat slept his way to 41 goals this year. Like, and
it's almost as if the Sharks could use somebody else on the top 6 to put the puck in the net.
And now people are going to say, many people will say, if you get DeBrincat, who's going to feed him? Who's going to feed him? Who's going to play with him? And I do agree that is a bit of a problem because obviously Hurdle, Meyer, and Barabanov, I think that line should be locked. And then so you're saying, okay, DeBrincat with Couture. I'm not overly thrilled with that idea. So
well, and if you remember, prior to the beginning of the season, remember Couture had a hard-on to play with Dahlin. And,
right, and
I think he went a little flaccid as the season went on.
Well, we've talked about Dahlin, the whole thing. Nothing's been confirmed, but I don't think it takes a surgeon to read the tea leaves on that one.
Yeah.
And the thing with DeBrincat as well, and then we'll move on is, he's one of those guys, and we've talked about it. The average shooting percentage for the NHL is NHL players somewhere between 9 and 10%. Between 9 and 10% of your shots go in. That's the average. DeBrincat is one of those players whose personal average is higher than the league average. He's been in the NHL for 5 seasons now, and his average shooting percentage is 15%.
File under you love to see it.
Yeah, so like I look at that and I'm like, dude, fire everything at the net.
Let's get back to the chat. I promise everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here, 4th of July. This was kind of a last minute, as you could obviously tell from how the stream went earlier. But I do want to try to catch up with all your comments before we bounce out of here. Dalton kind of touching on the sensitive note. I think it's worth discussing. when you look up this news, one thing you see is that Mike Grier is the first African-American hockey GM. Do you think his tenure will be looked at as a diversity hire? I mentioned it earlier. The Sharks, this hire, no matter how it goes, it is a feather in their cap that they're the first ones to, have an African-American GM. So it is a bit of a feather in the cap. The Sharks have made no bones that they are a very woke franchise. And I don't mean that in the disparaging term that it's somehow become. But it does make me a little nervous that some people might look at this and say, oh, it's a diversity hire, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, dude, look at Chief's resume. I don't know that you can, make that argument.
Well, I was going to say, anybody who says that it's strictly a diversity hire, they're a bunch of pigeons, if you ask me. I think it's really awesome. Obviously, the diversity element of it, I think it's awesome. It's especially, we know what the NHL is. And so to have, this kind of diversity in such a high up position for many reasons, the growth of the game, growth of opportunity, all that kind of stuff, I think it's awesome. Beyond that, or not even beyond that, in addition to that, he's been an assistant coach. And I said this on Twitter earlier, he was an assistant coach. He's been an assistant coach with a handful of teams. I believe he was an assistant coach with I want to say the Rangers. I know he's bounced around a couple teams, but he's also, or currently, until tomorrow, so they say, he's the, kind of hockey operations advisor, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And, so with that, that's not a GM role. That's not a president role. That's not a, that I look at that and I'm like, okay, that sounds like a role that they give someone to stick around. But when you're in there, you're in the room, you're talking to GMs and AGMs and scouts and presidents and all these kinds of things. That's management experience. You're picking up all kinds of experience and knowledge and all that kind of stuff. And so, it is a good hire for diversity and for inclusion and for opportunity, but guy's got the resume too. He's a damn good candidate. And I can't say if he'll be a good GM or not, but I think he's earned the opportunity to try.
Hell yeah. Is he good friends with Barry Trotz by any chance?
I don't understand, the hype train on Barry Trotz.
Because they're all thinking about Washington 5 years ago,
Yeah, but, Barry Trotz is a good coach, but I think there's better options available. I know I was really hoping Erik was going to say Rick Tocchet earlier when you guys were talking about coaches, and he didn't. But no. But that's okay, But Rick Tocchet I think wouldn't be bad. I like David Quinn. We were saying on TTG for years, at least I was, that the Sharks need a coach like David Quinn, and now the real David Quinn's available. So who's to say?
Oh man. You know what? I just saw something pop up on the chat, so I got to check it real quick. And I'm on real quack. Unfortunately, it says that John says that he did send in a donation using Venmo. Problem is that I am literally in the middle of switching phones. So let me take a look here. Oh, John Josie. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Oh, dude. $10 and then another $5 on top of it. Thank you so much. What did you have to say? Was there a comment to that? So if there's a comment tied to that, let me know.
So real quick, I did want to jump in. You know what? So Mike Grier was an assistant coach with the Devils.
Yes. We mentioned that earlier.
I couldn't remember if it was the Devils or the Rangers. I know he's with the Rangers now, but I couldn't remember if it was Devils or Rangers. I almost said Devils, but I was like, no, I think it's the Rangers.
No,
that's why I said Rangers. But
it was a scout for the Blackhawks, then with the Devils, now with the Rangers.
Yeah, assistant coach with the Devils, hockey operations advisor with the Rangers, and in just under 12 hours, GM of the Sharks. Mm-hmm. People are saying. Many people are saying.
And see, that's the funny thing is that a lot of speculation. Of course, LeBron set the world on fire when he posted his tweet, and everybody's kind of like, I don't know, so the Sharks are known to bullshit and to dangle the shiny object over this way so you don't look over here. But once Kevin Weeks dropped it, it was like, fait accompli, it's over.
Well, you saw that the Sharks, you saw that they made an announcement that they're going to make an announcement, right?
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah. Like you see that, it's like, okay, dude, who are you? Come on,
Yeah,
man.
stop. Anthony coming up with one of my favorite questions. You think the Sharks will get new unis in the next couple of years? Yes. I absolutely think they will.
We'll see.
I think they will because how long have they been wearing their current ones? This organization has never held on to a jersey longer than what, 9 seasons?
Yeah, these ones.
The second generation went from what, 97 to 07?
Yeah, this current version they've been wearing since 2017, but the version that this version is based on goes to 2013. So
exactly.
As you say, it's been a minute.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, just based on the other thing that the Sharks are known for is dropping out subtle little hints in certain things. You look at the Sharky tweet when they got the 11th pick, when he posted an image of the 11 on the jersey. It was the original style jersey. It wasn't the current one. You look at every time over the last season or so, whenever there's been like something that the NHL has done or Hockey News or Sportsnet, whoever, when they've posted something like, best logo or whatever, whenever the Sharks respond, it's always with their original logo.
Well, and you've seen that other times too. I remember it would have been 2018, when I remember the whole thing is Adidas wasn't going to do third jerseys until year 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember in 2018, the Sharks were like, yeah, we're going to have a third jersey, but, can't talk about the development of it. We're still in stealth mode. And it was your buddy Becker. It's like, oh, we're still in stealth mode on that one. It's like,
yeah, it's
okay,
dripping those little hints,
yeah.
man. You have
how late were you up thinking of that one?
Yeah, you have to dissect every little word. And it's one of those ones that when you in the moment you kind of go, I don't fucking get it, and then when it's all revealed, you go, God damn it, how did I not see that?
You know what though? On the flip side of that, I love the snark that has come out of that as well. I don't think anybody would be shocked to hear this, but we're a bit
Snarky.
Over the top. We're a bit. No, I was gonna say we're a bit over the top when it comes to like jersey fascination.
Sure.
And there's obviously people like us who are over the top, and maybe we're a bit nitpicky to a fault. But like if I say to you, Black Armor versus Stealth, you know exactly what I'm talking about right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember same time around 2018 in the summer going into that season. I remember somebody coming out and saying, hey, Sharks, announce the Black Armor jersey already. And the Sharks account came back and said, announcement, we still don't wear that jersey. I was like, as the jersey nerd aficionado, whatever you want to call it, I'm like, I like that. That's fun for me.
Absolutely. So
you guys talked about Puljujärvi earlier.
Yeah,
that was another thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, let her rip.
I think so. In a vacuum, I like Jesse Puljujärvi, right? 4th overall pick. Has very good stats. In Finland before he was drafted, obviously in the World Juniors as well, and then his little 2-year escapade that he had in Finland between Oilers tenures. He was very good as well, and he was decent with the Oilers too. Like people were, oh my god, 2 goals in the playoffs, this guy sucks. But like since he's come back from Finland, he's put up 2 pretty solid regular seasons. And I know the haters are going to say that he couldn't do more than what he did while playing with McDavid, and maybe on some level that's true. But I still think he's a good player. And if there's a situation where Jesse Puljujärvi can fall into the Sharks' lap, I'd be all about it. The same reason that we were kind of hyped about Barabanov and Balcers and Dahlin, kind of these unknown gems, so to speak, right?
Dude, it just feels like every time, everything is brought up about Puljujärvi, I feel like many people are saying, I should say some people are saying, they're like, now Yakupov 2.0. Like,
I understand.
Dude has some issues,
I understand why people say that, but it's like, I mean, the stats would tell you that that's not true.
Yeah.
And I think, I do like the player, but I do also worry about potentially bringing him into the Sharks for this, just because, yeah, he's a good player, but, how useful is he with Nick Bonino and John Leonard? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would be like Puljujärvi makes sense if the Sharks don't already have Barabanov.
Solid point.
Or unless you just go full scorched earth and you do, Couture, the wily veteran, centering Puljujärvi and Eklund, you just do like okay, we're putting you with the veteran top center, hang in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think Puljujärvi is one of those guys where you got to put him in a good position. And as much as I would like him on the Sharks, I don't know that he could be in a good position on the Sharks.
I feel you. So with that, I mean, we've been rolling now for like an hour 15. Probably good time to start wrapping shit up.
I know. I was getting ready to shut it down, and then you were like, "Get on Skype," and I'm like, "Fuck, all right."
Get on there, coward. So even though all the names that have been bandied about, whether it was Garpenloff, Mellenby, Whitney, whoever, looks like it's going to be Grier if everything comes to fruition. So look for that tomorrow on, I don't know, every social media platform channel tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific, when the Sharks will do the official unveiling, introduction, if you will. Look, Jerk is going to tell you Bugner got the all-time jam job. Jam job Bob got jam job.
The jam jobber has been jam jobbed.
Yeah. So,
and yeah,
you think he ends up anywhere?
Okay.
Next season?
And Dave's mentioned this, and I didn't think about this until I saw him mention it. But if you had the choice to get paid to work or get paid to do nothing, I think I would get paid to do nothing.
Can't there be both?
because here's the thing. Now
so he gets paid again, to sit on his ass for a year.
This is a million percent speculative. Okay, this is me just thinking out loud, right? But
dude, there are blogs literally based on that idea.
Right, but so for 2022-2023, which is the season coming up, the Sharks owe Bob Bugner $1.5 million. And so, which for San Jose, I feel like that's kind of low, but whatever.
I would agree.
So
that might get you into a downtown condo.
Yeah. So if he gets hired somewhere else, the hiring team, essentially, doesn't actually work this way, but the hiring team ostensibly picks up the tab that the Sharks owe him. Mm-hmm. There's more intricacies to it, but that's more or less how it is.
Yeah, but we're also talking about Hasso Plattner, who has like 1.5 hidden in his couch cushions.
Sure, but what I'm saying is, if Bob Bugner were to get hired somewhere, he would no longer, he wouldn't be getting paid by the Sharks. He'd be getting paid by his new team. And, there's no evidence to this. This is, like I said, just me sort of thinking out loud. But if Bob Bugner is a little bit sour that the Sharks fired him the way that they did.
Oh, he's just going to fucking ride the couch
don't you
for a
think
season?
Don't you think he would want to be like, nah, you know what? You fired me before my deal is up.
Eat it.
I'm taking your money.
Yeah.
You're going to pay me to sit on my ass.
I feel that.
And you know what? Kind of going the other way too. And obviously this ended up not happening, but Vegas, the Golden Knights, they took care of Peter DeBoer. They paid him pretty handsomely, $3.25 million a year. And same situation. This year was his last year on his Vegas contract. Because of how handsomely Vegas was paying him, I thought he was going to sit the year out, not to spite Vegas, but just because he would be getting paid so well. Of course, he ends up going to Dallas and he gets $1 million raise. So what do I know?
See, now, do you think that look, we heard that things weren't necessarily all roses between Klingberg and Dallas. We know Burns has, the ranch. We know Dallas now has his old coach that he had when he got the Norse, and his favorite buddy is in front of the net tipping pucks. What do you think? To share that, I'll be right back.
Well, I feel like for the reasons you listed, I kind of feel like people have been, rightly or wrongly, marrying Burns to the Dallas Stars for probably a year and a half now. And I was kind of tinkering around with a little bit. I don't think with Burns, I think we're beyond the point where the Sharks could comfortably come out and say, we want a first round pick and another first round pick and this A prospect. We're well past that point. But I think Burns, obviously, and I've said it before, you've said it before, AJ, I know you're not here. But Burns is a guy who still does have value, especially to a team like Dallas. So, in tinkering around, is there a situation where maybe, I think the Sharks, if they do send him to Dallas, maybe they gotta bring him down from $8 million to $6.5 million, which it's not ideal to retain salary, but would you rather retain $1.5 million or send a draft pick as like I hate the word, but like a sweetener? I'd rather just eat the money. And
yeah, especially if the whole thing is like trying to get to the next evolution of the Sharks.
Exactly. And so if you get Burns down to $6.5 million as opposed to $8 million, I think that would be something that Dallas would think about. Just the way their salary cap is kind of set up right now, they're in a position to move some, have some money sort of transition among players. And so then I'm thinking, you have a $6.5 million Brent Burns who's still effective, still really good player. I know we bitched about him all year, but he was good, or at least as good as he could have been.
And maybe he becomes a little more effective when he's got his buddy in front of the net.
Sure, maybe. So now you start to look at the roster and you get into. I mean, it's easy to say this player, this pick, this, but you sort of get into the storylines. You read a little bit. You sort of infer the Sharks don't have a second round pick. I bet they love one. You snipe that up, and I know this one's going to turn your crank. He was really, really good in the bubble. Since the 2 seasons since the bubble, he's struggled. Maybe the Sharks take a chance on someone like Denis Gurianov, who, as an RFA with arbitration rights, signed a 1-year deal.
Dude, I just remember in the bubble, dude, you and I couldn't shut up about him on the court.
Well, and that's the thing. So that season, he had 20 goals that season, and then 9 goals in the bubble, and then COVID season 2, the hub season, only 12 goals. This past season, only 11 goals. So clearly, since the bubble season, it's been hard going for him. Maybe, but he's still a good player. Maybe he needs a change of scenery. He is a guy who likes to score goals, and I just wonder. As I said, we're past the days of Brent Burns being that player that you can get 3, 4, 5 pieces for. But if Dallas came to you and said, "Hey, get him down to $6.5 million, we'll give you Gurianov in a second." If I'm Mike Grier, take it, run.
Do not look back.
And because obviously, as I said, the Sharks don't have a 2022 second. I bet they'd love one. And Gurianov is kind of a, he's not a tainted asset, but he has slipped a little bit. And I wonder if A, it's an opportunity to buy low, but B, it's also an opportunity to kind of get him refreshed on a new team.
Well, and again, this is something I kind of mentioned earlier. Doug Wilson Jr. talked about on the call on Friday that, this draft, when asked about, like its depth or whatever, he said, no, he goes, this is kind of a, there's, the first 3, 4, 5 picks or whatever, kind of like, in stone. After that, a guy that's taken in the second round versus a guy who's taken in the 6th round, people just, they don't know because they weren't able to get a lot of looks at people because of the Rona. Mm-hmm. So like everybody is kind of like at the craps table and nobody knows what the dice are going to turn up.
Well, and that's the thing. And I remember we made the point, the people who say the Sharks need to acquire more picks, and you and I made the point that the last 3 years, that's all they've done. Right. Mm-hmm. And, there were a handful of people who said, well, how good is it to have, 10 3rd, 4th, and 5th round picks? And it's like, dude, doesn't matter the round. They're all lottery tickets.
Yeah, well, and that was actually something that I believe Dougie Jr. had mentioned on. It's not a case of how many picks you have, it's how many you hit.
Well, and that's a thing, and I can tell you from experience, I'm sure you've experienced the same thing. You know how many times I've lost money on a $5 scratcher but cleaned up on a $1 scratcher?
There you go.
Just saying.
I'm just saying.
You may totally fumble the bag on your first round pick, but you could make it up with a 4th, 5th, 6th round pick. And I know he's everybody's favorite punching bag right now, but how much have we talked about Goldobin? Sharks fumbled the bag on Goldobin in the 2014 first round. I don't think anybody would argue with that.
Marco Mueller.
Right. Well, right. But then specifically with 2014, they fumbled the bag in the first round with Nikolai Goldobin, but then 6th round, 171st overall, they picked up Kevin LeBanc. Not a bad player.
Yeah. So it's not all bumblefuck hockey up in here.
That's what I'm saying is it doesn't matter the round. Every pick, there are varying degrees of the likelihood, but every pick provides you a chance at an NHL player.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
So even if the Sharks rolled up to, when is it, Friday?
I thought it was Thursday.
Might be. And they had a 1st and 10 sixths. All right, we'll see what you can do.
I don't know. Somebody do me a favor in the comments. When the hell is round 1? Thought it was Thursday. Could be Friday. I don't know.
Whatever day the 7th is.
Okay. Well, today is the 4th.
So Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, then. There you go. Yeah, I just knew that I was on vacation. So it was like I'm gonna be in wine country all weekend for a friend's birthday. So I have no idea. You guys are going to have to text me and tweet me what happens because my ass is either going to be in a tasting room or in a pool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this last week there's been a lot of like other stuff going on that trying to figure out, and so I'm like, I've had people text me a couple times like, hey, like, what do you think for free agency? And I'm like, I don't. I've been busy.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be totally busy. And it kind of upsets me, too, is that besides all the draft stuff, there's another sale happening next weekend. So I'm like, God
really?
damn it. Yeah. So let's finish off some comments here before we get out. Although we should also mention, check the Teal Town Twitter over the next week or so. We might have some exclusive photos of the old center hung scoreboard leaving and the new one coming in. So there's that. There's going to be a lot to talk about between now and, Jesus Christ, camp. There's Reverse Retro 2.0. There's whatever Sharks jersey that they're going to come out with. Like, I'm telling you, I'm betting that there's something's happening.
From what many people are saying, that's not going to be a thing until November.
If it happens, it happens.
We'll
I'm fine with it. Yeah, well, supply chain issues. Alexander saying, you guys need to have the urinating tree on someday. I would love that. I would love him to just do, his fucking voice is so awesome. I would love for him to just record our intro and outro. We need to find some stipends to cover that. Let's see, and then there's some talk. Okay, you guys are banding about the unis. That's talk for another day. That's what we talk about on Discord. Come join us. If you don't have access, hit up at @hockey_jerk. He'll hook you up. So with that, I think we're about done. The Sharks tomorrow, less than 12 hours from now, about 11:30. All the social media channels should have it. Sharks Audio Network, Sharks Twitter, blah, blah, blah. Basically everything but local sports talk radio. And
Town USA on YouTube.
Yeah, and the yeah, well, they'll all have it. And then, of course, the local sports talk radios will not have it. And NBC, the channel that actually broadcasts their games, they're not going to have it. But all the other channels will. So that's all that matters. 11 o'clock and they can't fucking get that on there. Jesus.
To close. Oh, shout out to Michael. Thank you, Michael.
Hey now.
To close us out here,
at least somebody thinks that.
Have you been seeing all the things coming out of the Avalanche Cup celebration?
The only thing that I haven't seen come out of the Colorado Avalanche is McFarland interviewing for the Sharks.
Right.
That's what I want. But what are you talking about?
I was quite, and I'm going to share the tweet into the YouTube chat, but there's a really good video of Curtis McDermott completely gooned, pulling the cup over his head, and then he just falls over.
Oh, that I did
onto
see.
A table.
Dude, how many fucking times are you going to dent the shit out of that?
Oh, and it's funny because if you watch that video, there's the guy, he's got the long hair with like the baby blue shirt on. That's one of the keepers of the cup. You noticed as soon as McDermott goes down, he's in there like, give me it back, thank you.
It's like, and we're done.
Yeah.
Move on. Hold on, Matty. Is that our bro, Matt?
I don't know. I think so.
It could be. But when AJ,
well, with a take like that afterwards, I'm not so sure now.
AJ, will you ever sell any of your jerseys, bro? Instagram.com/SJ Sharks jerseys. They're all there, bro. Go get them.
Many people are saying.
I got some on eBay too, but you go through the Instagram, I'll give you a fat ass discount. So. With that, come on. We got to get the fuck out of here. Thank you so much for joining us tonight as we just rambled and dealt with technical bullshit or whatever. I guarantee you, if you listen to the audio version of this, it'll probably sound great. You didn't have to deal with any of the other shit. So, as always, we ask you if you could help us out. Follow us on social media, YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button. Twitter, whether you follow us individually or just the Teal Town account, we appreciate it. Instagram, obviously there. Facebook, we pop on Reddit from time to time. Again, if you like to be where the chat never stops, hit up at hockey.
Literally never stops.
Yeah, never does. At hockey_jerk for the Discord combination. And if you ever want to support us to keep us commercial free so we don't have to tell you how to manscape or, I don't know, or we don't get overrun by fucking gambling ads where every 5 minutes we have to stop and tell you to gamble responsibly because so-and-so is sponsoring this. You want to help us out? You can always use the super chat option on the live shows like right now, or whenever the spirit moves you, you can always hit us up on Venmo like John did earlier tonight. We thank you again for that. But that's how you keep us commercial free so we don't have to pull the brakes in the middle of a topic to tell you, I don't know, how to mow your lawn, so to speak. You feel me on that?
I've heard Erik Karlsson's good at that.
Oh, boy. I put it on the tee and you just slam the shit out of it.
Well, I'm on summer vacation. I've had a lot of time to build up
I'm on vacation.
I've had a lot of time to build up the repertoire. Plus, we talked about it. If nothing happens if nothing happens to or with or because of the Sharks within a 7-day period, we're not required to do a show. So
that is true.
We've had plenty of time to build up the firepower, so to speak.
Well, and lots happening this week. Just to let you know, we've been off for a while. I cannot hear anybody say the name Scandella without hearing Chris Tucker because of you. Just to let you know.
You're welcome.
So for now, and I hate playing the prediction game of blah blah blah, but I'm just saying we do like to place our little bets, our imaginary bets, if you will. So, where's your money on Thursday? Sharks keep 11 or trade 11.
Oh, jeez.
Dude.
And, oh, man. Okay, let me first say, using my brain, the answer is, remains to be seen. Could go either way. Because it legitimately could, A good deal could fall into the Sharks' lap right before they're about to pick. We don't know. But gut feeling based on the vocabulary around where the Sharks want to get things back, I think they move it. And I don't know, in the next 3 days, I don't know if they get ultra aggressive for somebody like we talked about, DeBrincat, Nylander, Pasternak. I mean, those are definitely draft trades, but I don't know. It remains to be seen. I am leaning.
So your gut says they're going to move it.
My gut says they're going to move it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's for a big name player. They could easily do something like 11th overall for like 28 and 41.
I was going to say
the
player that they had their eyes on could get taken 10th, and then they're like, oh, okay, fuck it, yeah, we got this deal in our back pocket for 28 and 41 with somebody else. Let's do that.
Well, and you know what? And I don't have it on good authority. I have it on authority. But I have it on authority that had Had Eklund not been there at 7, the Sharks would have dumped that pick.
I've heard the same thing. And
So-
I don't mean that in a joking fashion.
Like I said, I don't have it on good authority. I have it on authority.
Yeah, I feel you.
You know, and stuff like this too. I say it every year, but so I'm going to say it again. It's about time. But for the draft, just as a, if you want to find something to be excited about, because the draft I think has been pretty boring the last 3 or 4 years, pretty much since the pandemic started. But even a year or two before the pandemic,
Well, it's going to be live now, so.
Yeah, but I think 1 or 2 seasons before the pandemic started, I think it was trending towards being not as exciting as previously. But when it comes to the draft, I always give the horse eye to the teams that have multiple first round picks.
Sure.
Right. And you look at Columbus. I mean, shit, dude. Columbus is picking at 6. Columbus is picking at 6 and 12.
Well, is it this year that like Seattle and Arizona own like 20 of the first 50 or something?
Yeah, Arizona's got a shitload of second round picks. But for the fanfare of the first round, right? Like Columbus is picking at 6 and 12. Buffalo is picking at 9 and 16 and 29. Arizona is picking at 3, 27 and 32. Winnipeg's picking at 14 and 29.
So there's a lot of picks out there.
Yeah, Montreal's picking at 1 and 26. Anaheim is picking at
Dude, we don't need to give the rundown of the.
No, but here's the thing.
My question was, do you think the Sharks use their pick or do they trade?
No, I'm getting there. So the Sharks are picking at 11th overall. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 6 picks in the whatever term, bottom 10 of the first round. Let's just say there are 6 picks in that range that are owned by a team that have another first round pick.
All right.
So maybe it's a situation. Maybe if the Sharks, if they don't get their guy at 11 and they're thinking, ooh, we don't really know. Maybe Arizona says, hey, if we move up, can we move up to 11? We'll give you, as we said, Arizona's got a shitload of picks. We'll give you 27 and 43, and maybe we'll slide you 126. You know what I mean? Like, a trade like that is on the table, but also.
But what about a trade? Trading 11 for a player like we talked about earlier.
The players that we were talking about, DeBrincat, Pasternak, Nylander, it's going to be 11th plus.
Then that's fine, but it's still
it's fine. But I think you're like, if it's a DeBrincat kind of thing, DeBrincat is the best of the 3 if you ask me. So that might be off the table just based on that fact. Chicago may ask too much, but something like Nylander, like if you can snipe Nylander for like 11th overall and a Jonathan Dahlin, and then I don't know, maybe one of the BC prospects, maybe a if you can snipe me, because I think the big thing, like 11th overall, that's the spicy meatball, right?
Sure.
But a lot of these teams, especially in Toronto's a good example with, obviously they have all their money in a handful of guys. They need cheap depth. Dahlin gives you that. With Chicago, if you go the DeBrincat route, they're going to need to be around the cap floor. They're going to need NHL players. LeBanc provides that. Dahlin also provides that. I think, and I love to hoard. I love to hoard good young players as much as the next person. But like, if a DeBrincat or a Nylander comes up, here, take Jonathan Dahlin. Take Rudolph Balcers. Take Ozzy Weisblatt. You know what I mean? Like,
I notice you don't name Barabanov.
Well, no, I mean they just re-signed him.
Yeah, I know. You're like, fuck you. That's my boy.
But my point is like people, Sharks fans, media, us, wherever you want to put us in that ranking.
Pretend media.
Right. We say the Sharks need more impact elite players. Well, you're not going to find them. As I said earlier, you're not going to find them in UFA. You're going to have to trade for them.
I agree with you.
It's smart. People want to hoard all the draft picks and all the players, but sometimes you got to trade stuff to make things happen.
I agree, but I'm going to say that I think the Sharks, as I stated earlier, they've done their due diligence. They've done their homework. And I feel as though I think they're just Dougie Jr., they've proven it over the last 2-3 times that he's been at the helm. They're just going to get the best that they have on their board. It has no idea it has nothing to do with what they claim are their deficits. We saw, wasn't it like 2 years ago? Didn't take a single defenseman. It was all forwards.
Yeah, that was 2020. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, so because it was like, well, that player at that time was at the top of our board.
And I'm glad that that's the philosophy now, right? Because how many times, like I know, and you love to mention this, so I'm not even going to get too far into the weeds on it, but we like that stretch where the Sharks were always looking for the next big thing on defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many times did we hear, oh, we're deficient, we need help on defense, so we're going to draft a defenseman now.
Yeah,
it's like,
even though it's not there.
Yeah, but not even that, but it's like you need help now, so you're picking up an option for 3 years from now.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky, it's like, why,
You're not getting Cale Makar in the 4th round.
No, but not even that. It's like, okay, you want, you need help on the blue line right now. Why are you drafting a player that's 3 years out?
Dude,
you know what I mean? It makes no sense.
Check out Davalos in the chat. I got Kraken fans insistent that having a lot of second-round draft picks means getting a guaranteed lot of good young players.
I mean, better chances.
Better chance. Well, of course, yeah. More picks you have, the more chances. But yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like, would you rather have a pick in the top 5 and then no picks until, like, I don't know, round 4? Like, say you could have the number 4 pick overall, but then you don't have any in the 2nd or the 3rd, but you have 2 4th rounders, 3 5ths, 2 6ths, and 2 7ths. Or would you rather have, like, I don't know, you've traded away your 1st for whatever, but you have 3 2nd rounders, 3 3rd rounders. You know what I mean? Like, you can have the one big one, or you can have a lot of. It's just that it's that idea of, like, yes, if you're picking out of the creme de la creme, like, the chances of you hitting on that 1st in the top 5 is very high. But if you've got, a lot of picks over the course of the first 3 rounds, then it also ups your, opportunity to hit.
Well, and, the example that I made earlier, I think I didn't really think about it until just now, but the example I made earlier is actually a pretty bang on example. I mean, as a gambler yourself, what gives you a better chance at winning? A $5 scratch ticket or 5 $1 tickets?
5 $1 tickets.
That's what I'm saying. And you look at Arizona now. For the record, Arizona, they don't have to choose; they have both. But for the purposes of this argument, I'm going to say you have to choose. Would you rather have 3rd overall, or would you rather have 34, 36, 43, and 45?
I feel you.
Arizona has both, so they don't have to choose. But if it were me, to your point, would I take a top 5 pick, or would I take 4 seconds? I would take 4 seconds. And actually, they had 5 seconds. And because they had so much extra currency to work with, as Doug Wilson Sr. likes to say, the Coyotes traded one of their 5 second-round picks for a college player that didn't want to sign with Minnesota. And, nothing is guaranteed, but this player, it's a pretty smart gamble for Arizona to take. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens across the board. I think the draft
I'm enamored by this weird chunk of hair that waiting for this haircut to calm down. This is very odd. I got to get some paste. We got to wrap this up, man.
Yeah, but I just think with how, I feel like this is the first time in a while we've seen a small handful of teams have a bunch of the picks. As you mentioned, Arizona's got 4 seconds. Seattle's got 4 seconds as well. And even in the first round, like I said, there are 6 or 7 teams that have multiple firsts. There's actually 2 teams that have 3 firsts, which is crazy. So it's like, okay, if you're Arizona, you probably draft with all of them. But if you're Winnipeg and you've got an extra first and you think you're closer, maybe you say, hey, we'll take your good player off your hands.
Dude, we're living in an era that we can sit there and go, hey, you know what? You want to talk about a time to be alive? I was alive when a team that went to the Stanley Cup final fucking missed the playoffs so hard the next year with Montreal, right?
Yeah.
And during that same time, I saw an Anaheim Duck player sign with 3 different teams, make it to the final each time, and lose every fucking time. When does that shit happen?
Yeah, I believe first time in league history that someone's lost in the final 3 years in a row with 3 different teams.
Dude.
And
it's insane. Well, go ahead and then I'll make my final thing.
I was just going to say it's easy to pick on Corey Perry, but I actually kind of like Corey Perry. I think he's a good player.
But yeah, no, he gets under people's skin. He does his job. But just to see that, it was just amazing. I remember talking about this with some football buddies of mine towards it was like 06, 07, 08, somewhere in that neck of the woods, where it was, first off, you had brothers as starting QBs. They win back-to-back Super Bowls with Peyton and then Eli, right? But also during that course, or right in that same time frame, you had a team, the Patriots, go perfect, except for, the Super Bowl. But they ran the table on the regular season, and then like the following season, Detroit went over.
Yeah.
I'm like, when are you ever going to see that again? Now, granted, Detroit is still a football team, so you could see them go 0-16 again. No, well, today 0-17 because of the expanded schedule. But to see a team run the table again, last time that happened was 72? So that was pretty impressed. I want to get to Matt's question from earlier. He said something about what song would I recommend. I'm not a big fan of songs per se. Like, I want to hear like a collection of works. Def Leppard has a new album out. It's decent. Hailstorm's new album, chef's kiss. Stabbing Westward's new album, chef's kiss. So I would recommend Hailstorm and Stabbing Westward. But that's just me. If it's not your jam, it's fine. It's all subjective. There's a lot of other shit to talk about that we're going to save until we get closer to the beginning of the season. Some of that includes how the Sharks are going to make up for lowering ticket prices, because believe you me, I have it written down. Great America, the big-ass theme park here in Santa Clara, has been sold to a developer. Could close as early as 6 years from now, as late as 11 years from now, but eventually it's going to close. Many people are saying, might that be a location to consider for a new arena for the Sharks? We'll talk about that.
Many people are also saying no.
Yeah, exactly. Mitchell and Ness have teamed up for a new agreement with the NHL. We'll talk about what that means because Fanatics owns them, so it means more of the same.
Unfortunately, because they made good hats.
They did. They made great stuff. But now Fanatics owns them, which means they no longer do. We'll be talking about the roster changes, the new center hung scoreboard. We can get into fun shit like Torts to Philly, Cassidy to VGK, DeBoer to Dallas, whatever. We're, of course, going to cover Reverse Retro 2.0 when that happens, draft, free agency, all of that stuff. So, again, so happy that you all stuck with us tonight here. I hope you all had a safe and fun 4th of July. Definitely some fireworks going off. Really, I think it was Kevin Weeks that lit the fuse. Like, LeBron was like, yeah, I think this is going to happen, and this person. But once Weeks goes with a video, you're like, oh, shit, it's in stone. Carve it. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. And
dude, once Weeks goes with it, you're like, oh, shit, it's happened. It's what is it? It's that Office gif. It's happening. So with that, thank you. Fuck, man. What is it about you and I, dude? We get on the horn, boom, 2 hours. No problem. Talk. So,
I know. I've already been here for almost an hour. I was literally in bed when you told me to get on Skype.
See? So thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Please tell a friend, or just open 10 more YouTube accounts and subscribe with those. We're fine either way. And we will catch you all unless a new head coach is announced between now and whenever. You can probably catch us after day one of the draft. I believe some conglomerate of either Ian Reed or Mark, Puck Guy, Kevin Lacey, all the perhaps Landy, we don't know, but all the ones that followed that draft stuff. Like I said, Jerk and I, we're going to be on vacay. So hit them up. I'm sure they'll have you all hooked up between Thursday and then when it all is over, they'll probably do a recap. And hopefully no other big, huge nugget of news drops between now and Thursday. But pay attention to us tomorrow at 11 a.m. We should have some, at the very least, some quotes. And check out our YouTube channel. We should have the recap of the broadcast that happens with the introduction of Mike Grier as the next general manager of your San Jose Sharks. Any final words from you, Jerk?
Time for bed. Good night.
Thank you. Enjoy.